Om Shri Sai Ram. I offer my prayerful salutations at the lotus feet of my beloved Master, Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. Mannatha Shri Jagannatho Madguru Shri Jagadguruho Mamatma Sarvabhutatma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. My Master, Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, is verily the Master of this entire universe. Our Guru, our beloved Swami, is Vishwaguru. The Atma that is present in me is the very same that is present in every being in this creation. The word Natha, Guru, and Atma are but three different names referring to the very same entity. Dear brothers and sisters, on this auspicious and spiritual occasion, where we have all gathered to celebrate the victory of truth over untruth, where we all seated here to witness the Veda Purusha Saptaha Jnana Yajna, on behalf of all of you, I express my heartfelt gratitude at the divine lotus feet of Swami. It is by Swami's will alone that all of us have been able to gather in his divine proximity. What is the meaning of the word Jnana Yajna? In the Bhagavad Gita, Sri Krishna explains, Shreyan Dravyamayat Yajnat Jnana Yajnaf Parantapa Sarvam Karmakhilam Partha Jnane Parisamapyate. The Jnana Yajna is superior to all other forms of yajna. It is in this ultimate wisdom alone that one can transcend the world of karma or action. Jnana Yajna to me is a transformative journey in which everything changes and yet nothing would have changed. At the very sight of the opponents in array, ready to fight the war with the noble Pandavas, Arjuna trembles and tumbles down. He laments to Krishna, Sidanti mama gatrani, mukham cha parishusyati, vepatuscha sharire me, romaharshascha jayate, gandivam sramsate hastat, tvakchaiva paridahyate, nacha shaknomi avasthatum, bhramati vachame manaha. My limbs are faltering, my mouth has gone dry. I am unable to hold the Gandiva bow firmly any longer. My mind is whirling in confusion and refusal. So saying, Arjuna collapses and surrenders, refusing to fight. Thereafter follows a beautiful, celestial, divine conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, at the end of which Arjuna stands up tall and proclaims, Nashto mohaha smritir labdha Tvat prasadat maya achyuta stithosmi gata sandeha karishye vachanam tava. The delusion has been dispelled. I have regained the right understanding. I stand tall with firm conviction, ready to obey your command. This time, Arjuna surrenders in wisdom. What brought about such a transformation in Arjuna? If you notice closely, nothing had changed. No new weapons were acquired. No new strategies were formulated. The size of the Pandava army was exactly the same. Krishna continued to be the charioteer of Arjuna. The size of the Kaurava army too was exactly the same. And yet such a change in the surrender of Arjuna. Nothing had changed in Kurukshetra for Arjuna, but everything had changed in the Dharma Kshetra of Arjuna. Swami defines yajna as tyaga. Tyaga meaning to give away all that we possess. What then would jnana yajna mean? Jnana yajna would mean to sacrifice all that we are. Our traits, our perceptions, our attitudes, for that matter, even our identity. Each one of us seated here is on this journey of continually redefining our identity to ourselves. We move back and forth, inward and outward. At times we elevate ourselves, at times we denigrate ourselves. We are caught in this tussle of not being able to hold on to what we truly are, and instead we hold on to what is not worthy. At one point of time, Maharaja Janaka too was confronted with the same problem. And so he humbly approaches his guru Ashtavakra and asks, Katham jnanam avapnoti, katham muktihi bhavishyati, vairagyam cha katham praptam, etad bruhi mama prabhu. How does one gain the right understanding of oneself and things around? Having gained that understanding, how does one release oneself from mistaken identity? And how does one ensure that one is not ensnared and entrapped once again? Please tell me the secret to all these three questions, O Lord. And Guru Ashtavakra's answer was just two simple words, Tyaja and Bhaja. Tyaja meaning to let go, and Bhaja meaning to hold on to. Muktim ichhasi chettata, vishayan vishavatyaja, kshamarjava dayatosha satyam, piyushavat bhaja. If you truly want to make progress towards the Lord within you, then run away from the world as you would maintain distance from poison, and instead embrace and take to in all enthusiasm to develop the qualities of forgiveness, straightforwardness, compassion, contentment, and truth. Tyaja and Bhaja. It is only when we let go we can make progress towards Swami. Dear brothers and sisters, each one of us seated here is extremely fortunate, for Swami is already holding our hands and has led us all close to Him. The sooner we let go of what is unworthy, the faster is our progress towards Swami. Everyone seated here is here not because of one's interest, intention, or efforts. It is only by the will, by the divine grace of Swami that we have been able to assemble in His proximity. And this is the first step in the journey of Jnana Yajna, to seek the proximity of the divine. It was in the year 1998 that I suddenly found myself in the Sri Sathya Sai primary school. It was this one single sentence of Bhagawan, a sapling can be mended, but not a tree, that found me transported from the noisy jungles of the Bangalore city to the carefully nurtured, pleasant gardens of Prasanthi Nilayam. I was here at last, in the presence of the divine. But then I noticed that there were 1,000 others with me. I was one amongst the many. I was closer to Swami, but I was yet to become near to Swami. One fine, beautiful darshan morning, Swami walked up to me, beckoned me forward, and accepted a small letter that were held in my tender palms. He turned it over and read out my name. I felt acknowledged. I no longer felt a stranger amongst the thousands of students. A few days passed, and Swami emerged from the interview room, gestured using his right hand for 5 students to come forward into the interview room to pick up the sweet boxes for distribution. I was 5th in the line. I too entered with all enthusiasm. 4 boys ahead of me picked 1 box each and left the room. I had no box of sweets to be picked up, only to realize that Swami had not called to give me a box of sweet, but to fill my heart with His sweetness Himself. I was standing all alone with Swami. It was just Swami and me looking at each other. No words were spoken, but much was communicated. In the eyes of the world, I came out empty-handed from that interview room, but only I knew that my heart was filled with the presence of Swami. Nurturing the presence of Swami in our hearts becomes the second step in this journey of Jnana Yajna. Let me now narrate to you a story that has stayed with me ever since I came across it for the first time. There was this little boy who was being brought up by his parents with much care, effort, and affection. In fact, his father worked multiple shifts just to earn more money, and ensure that his son gets the best of the education. True to the efforts of his father, the son finished his schooling in flying colors and moved on to college. There too, he excelled in all his endeavors. Thereafter, he secured a good job for himself. Father made sure that back at home, he would spend hours with his son talking about the stories from the Puranas and Itihasas with the sole intent of ensuring that the right values are instilled in this heart of young boy. He also made a transition to the Grihastha. On one occasion, when he had come home visiting his father, father wanted to ask his son a question to assess whether his son had understood the real meaning of life, whether he had gained the right attitude towards life and its journey. And so he draws his son close to him and puts forth this question: Son, who do you think is the most accomplished, or rather the greatest person in this world? And at once the son, without even battling his eyelid, says, Father, of course it's me. I am the most accomplished and greatest person in this world. The father was aghast at the display of arrogance by his son. But then he decides not to jump to a conclusion so soon. And so he asks his son for an explanation. Son, but why do you say so? And the son smiles gently and then says, Father, when you were asking me this question and when I was answering, if you noticed, your hands were upon my shoulder. As long as your hands are upon my shoulder, there can be no one who is greater than me in this world. Dear brothers and sisters, this story to me epitomizes the meaning of self-confidence. Confidence of Sai in us. We are great not because of our strengths. It is because of our association with Swami. It is because of the presence of Swami in our hearts. Self-confidence is Sai confidence, is God confidence, recognizing the presence of God in our hearts. But how do we ensure that this presence of Swami in our heart grows over time? The answer lies in the song composed by Swami himself. Love is my form, truth is my breath, bliss is my food, my life is my message, expansion is my life. Love is my form. The more we love all and serve all, the form of Swami becomes clearer and more detailed in our hearts. Once when a group of devotees, having witnessed the Dasara celebrations here at Prasanthi Nilayam, just did not want to go back to their homes, much like it would be for all of us. But Swami insisted that they must return to their homes and perform their duties towards their family members, relatives, and society. Perplexed by this situation, at the contradiction, Kasturi Garu approaches Swami and asks. Swami replies, they must return to their homes. Here, they have secured the joy of being in the presence of Swami. Once they go back, they must also earn the joy of seeing Swami in everybody that they serve. The more we love all and serve all, the presence, the form of Sai will become clearer in our hearts. Truth is my breath. Following the path of truth is equivalent to breathing life into the form of Swami in our hearts. We must walk the path of truth, and that is to enliven Swami in our hearts. Bliss is my food, the smallest of Swami's teachings. Always be happy. Rather, the most difficult one. Nashtam nashtam upeksheta, praptam praptam upaharet, nirvikarataya, tathi paramarchanam atmanaha. To the one who is already present in our hearts, how can we offer worship to him externally? It is impossible. Therefore, what is the highest form of worship to the one who is present in our hearts? Whatever be the loss that we face in our life, our attitude must be, so be it. And whatever gains we experience in our life, we must accept it as Swami's prasadam. That is the true and highest form of worship to the divine within. My life is my message. Expansion is my life. Following the teachings of Swami is giving space to Swami in our hearts to grow, such that he may at once occupy the entirety of our being. Going forward in this journey, after we have lit a lamp, we must ensure that it does not get put off by the winds that blow. As we enter the society, we will be faced with the thick and thin of life. Many circumstances will test us and challenge us. But come what may, recognizing the presence of Swami, we must not deviate from the path he has laid down for us. It is in this context Swami says, Sheelam Purusha Lakshanam, and disagrees with Udyogam Purusha Lakshanam. Swami has mentioned this beautiful shloka in one of his discourses. I am tempted to repeat it here. Ghrishtam Ghrishtam Punarapi Punaschandanam Charugandham Chinnam Chinnam Punarapi Punasvadu Chaivekshukandam Dagdham Dagdam Punarapi Punahkanchanam Kantavarnam Pranantepi Prakruti Vikrutir Jayate Nottamanam. Even when the sandalwood is ground again and again, it but emits beautiful fragrance. Even when the pieces of sugar cane are cut and squeezed, it but emits sweeter juice. Even when the pieces of gold are thrown into the burning furnace, it but shines even more brightly. Such should be the character of his devotees. There is more than one reason that Swami has placed Hanuman on top of the Hillview Stadium. Despite challenging circumstances, he never deviated from the path of Rama and the name of Rama. Even with poison in her hands, Mirabai remembered Krishna. Even when thrown into the fire and being trampled upon by elephants, Prahlada did not stop uttering the name of Narayana. Once we secure the presence of Swami in our hearts, Swami will secure us as his instruments. Yugas have passed, but Swami has not forgotten his Hanuman. Not just that, he continues to remind us of his greatest of his devotees, Hanuman. Once, Ravana questioned Hanuman as to who are you? And Hanuman proclaims, Dasoham Kosalendrasya Ramasya Aklishtakarmanaha Hanuman Shatru Sainyanam Nihanta Marutatmajaha. He called himself the servant of the Lord. Once we recognize the presence of Swami in our hearts, we realize that we are just instruments, nimitta matram. And thus comes the realization that we are but just his servants, dasaha. Who would not want to call himself dasoham sainathasya? That would be the greatest achievement of our lives. But once we go closer to the Lord with this identity, what does the Lord do? The Lord does not stop stealing. Back then, he stole the hearts of the gopis, and now he steals our identities. Dasoham itime buddhihi kinchit asit vrajeshvare. Dakaraha apahkritaha tena gopi chittapaharina. We go forward to the Lord with the identity that I am your dasa, I am your servant, accept me, Swami. But what does the stealer of our hearts do? He steals the syllable da from our identity and leaves us with the sense of saha aham, saha aham. At one point of time, when Swami was in the bhajan hall, pointing to a photo of himself, he asks a student nearby, what is your relationship to the person in the photo? The boy, with all his heart, says, Swami, you are my mother, father, guru, guide, and everything. But Swami does not accept that answer. He says, no. He, pointing to the person in the photo that is Swami's image, Swami says, he is you. As a group of students, we had gathered at Swami's lotus feet here in this very hall and expressed our gratitude to Swami for everything that Swami does for us. At the end of that program, overwhelmed with joy, in unison we shouted out, thank you, Swami. And Swami's reply, thank you, you and I are separate. No, no, no. You and I are one, only love. Once while coming for darshan, all the devotees quenched their thirst by looking at Swami's divine form. Later, Swami entered the interview room And to a boy who was already summoned inside, Swami expressed his dejection. Swami said that the devotees continued to look at Swami as if Swami was somebody separate, distinct, and unique. What a reason for Swami's sadness, and such a profound message hidden in it. Let me narrate to you one story. There was once a king who had visited various shrines across the length and breadth of this country. But yet his heart did not find peace. He felt that none of them did justice to the supreme entity. And so he calls a meeting of all his ministers, counselors, scholars, and asks them to come up with something that truly represents divinity. And so the ministers began to discuss amongst themselves. The scholars referred the Shastras. Over time, everybody in the kingdom began to make something. Children worked with clay. Artists began to sketch. Painters began to paint. At the end of which, there were a wide display of their creations. The king begins to visit them. The first chamber was the Vishwarupa Murti of the Lord. He walks to the second chamber, and there he finds the portrait of goddess Durga as the primordial source of creation. In the third, he finds 5 vessels, each representing the Pancha Mahabhutas. The king was not satisfied with any of these. He was about to return to his palace. Just then, an old man, outside a much humbler setting, invites the king to visit his chamber. The king walks in and comes out, beaming with joy. He had found the ultimate representation of the divine. All the onlookers were eager to know as to what was inside that chamber. They rush inside, and what do they find? They find a mirror. This is the supreme message that Swami has come to give to each one of us. He walks amongst us to tell us that he is our true form. The Jnana Yajna Visheshaha, a chapter in the Sutta Samhita, carries this following shloka. Dasoham iti sammohaha tataha soham iti brahmaha aham sahaha iti sammohaha tatha trini parityajet. To think that we are the servant of the Lord, it is illusion. To think that the Lord is me is utter foolishness. To think that I am the Lord is equally stupid. Therefore, one must abandon all these 3 notions. The Jnana Yajna is a journey from nearness to Swami to nearness and dearness to Swami to oneness. It is a journey from God is with me to God is in me to God alone exists. Dearest Swami, interview we sought from you, inner view you granted. Speak to me, Swami, we prayed, and inner voice you became. We love you, Swami, we echoed. You are love, you enlightened. We want you, Swami, we pleaded. You are me, you declared. Give me a mantra, we prayed. Take my name, you gifted. Show us the path, we cried. Know yourself, you guided. Who am I? We questioned. Sai Baba, you replied. In one of his discourses, Swami said that the expansion of the word Sai Baba means S-A-I. S for Sai, A for and I for I. S-A-I, Sai and I. B-A-B-A. Both are being and awareness. Who am I? We questioned. Sai Baba, you replied. Jai Sai Ram.